Hello everyone, it's Mrs. Kirkendall again, and we are going to be going over the review for Module 4, Topic B quiz. Now you can see here I already set up some of the problems because I don't want to waste time once I show you how to set up a problem. I'm not going to waste the time setting up all the other ones as well, so this should save us some time on this video. But when we set up decimals, we have to make sure that the decimals line up. Even if there's a different amount of numbers on either side of the decimal always has to be on top of each other, one on top of the other. We cannot have a decimal over here and a decimal over here. So this first one's pretty easy. It all lines up pretty well. This is going to be 8.17 plus 4.32. Now I tell students, bring your decimal down first. It's going to just go straight down and be placed there. And then this is just normal addition. If we were to ignore these decimals, this is 817 plus 432. So here we go. 7 plus 2 is 9. 1 plus 3 is 4. 8 plus 4 is 12. 12.49. Moving on to B, it's already set up for us, but this time we're subtracting. So students need to be very careful to check, are we adding or are we subtracting? And in this case, we are subtracting. So for this, we have to go from the right to the left. Can I go 1 minus 5? No. If I have $1, I cannot take away $5. So I need to borrow from the next place value. But if I do that, I'm not going to be able to subtract this 1. So we're going to go all the way over to 7. 7 is going to become 6 because we're borrowing 1 whole. This will become an 11, but we have to borrow from it. So it's going to become a 10, and this will be an 11. Now we can subtract. 11 minus 5 is 6. 10 minus 1, 9. Forgot to bring that decimal down first. 6 minus 2, 4. 4.96 is our answer. 4 and 96 hundredths. Going on to this one now, I wanted to do one more where I set it up because the decimal actually does not line up in this case. So what we're going to have to do here is go 2 and 1/10, 2.1. That decimal needs to line up. It needs to be right there. So the 0 will go here, the 6 will go here, and the 5 here. Now I have 2 and 1/10 and 65 hundredths. All the place values are lined up, and I have a blank here, and I just like to put a 0 when I have a blank. Now we can subtract this. I can't go 0 minus 5. I also can't go 1 minus 6. I go all the way over to the 2. 2 becomes 1. This becomes 11, but I have to borrow from it. It becomes a 10, and this is a 10. 10 minus 5, 5. 10 minus 6, 4. And 1 minus 0, 1. 1.45. Going over to D, let's bring that decimal down first. I forgot to do that the last 2 times. Decimal down first. Looks like we've got a blank here. And we are adding. So 0 plus 7 is 7. 3 plus 9 is 12. Add my 1 over here. We still have 12. And 1 plus 4 is 5. This is 5.27. Continuing on. 0.7, 7/10 plus 4.4, 4 and 4/10. Bringing down that decimal. 7 plus 4 is 11. Add my 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5.1 is my answer. One more on this page. Here we go. 9 plus 1 we're adding here. 9 plus 1 is 10. I just put the 0 there, and I put the 1 from the 10 over here. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 1 is 6. And 5 plus 0 is 5. 5.60, or this is 5 and 6/10, or 5 and 60 hundredths. On to the next page. Again, bringing down that decimal. And this is addition. 5 plus 5 is 10. Add the 1. 8 plus 5 is 13. Plus 1 is 14. Add my 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. 5.40 is my answer. Going on to H, we have a blank space here, so we're going to fill it in with a 0 and subtract. I cannot go 0 minus 5. I can't even do 4 minus 7. I keep going. That 4 turns into a 3. This becomes a 14, but we have to borrow, so it becomes a 13 and a 10. Let me bring down that decimal before I forget. 10 minus 5 is 5. 13 minus 7 is 6, and 3 minus 2 is 1. 1.65, or 1 and 65 hundredths. Let's keep going. 3.8 minus 2.21, 3 and 8 tenths minus 2 and 21 hundredths. We've got a blank here in the hundredths place, and now we can subtract. I cannot go 0 minus 1. I can go 8 minus 2, so I can borrow from this 8. I'm going to make the 8 a 7, and this is a 10. 10 minus 1. Before I do that, let me bring down that decimal. Let me not forget. 10 minus 1 is 9. 7 minus 2, 5, and 3 minus 2, 1. 1.59. And the last one, 9.8 minus 4.6, 9 and 8 tenths minus 4 and 6 tenths. We're going to bring down that decimal. 8 minus 6 is 2. 9 minus 4 is 5. 5 and 2 tenths. All right, now we got through just those standard ways of solving those problems. I think the students are going to rock it. You guys are going to do fabulous on the quiz. Let's go on to number 2. This one's a little weird because we have to work backwards. And what I told you guys in class today is this is basically pre-algebra that we're doing here. We're going to pretend these blanks here that we're trying to solve for is x. So we actually need to work backwards here in order to solve for these blanks. So for this first one, I have to solve what did I add to 44 hundredths in order to get 0.89. Well, in order to do that, I'm actually going to have to subtract 0.44 in order to figure out what did I have here, added that, and got this answer. So I have to subtract it. We're going to make it bigger over here. 0.89 minus 0.44. Bring down my decimal. 9 minus 4 is 5. 8 minus 4 is 4. 0 minus 0 is 0. I started with 0.45, added 0.44, and got 0.89. Now for this one, we have a number here. We subtracted 0.74 and then got this number, 0.96. Now, if I had to subtract this in order to get this, that means I'm starting with a much larger number here. Now again, pre-algebra, if I'm subtracting here, I'm actually going to add in order to get what I started with here. But let's put it over here. 0.96 plus 0.74, 96 hundredths plus 74 hundredths. 6 plus 4, 10. 9 plus 7, 16, plus 1 more would be 17. Add my 1. I started with 1.70, 1 and 7 tenths, or 1 and 70 hundredths. I subtracted 74 hundredths, and then I would get 96 hundredths. Now this last one's a little interesting here. What we are going to do in order to figure out what did we have to subtract from this larger number in order to get here is I actually have to subtract 0.12 from this in order to get this answer. So I'm going to take 2.08 minus 0.12. I can go 8 minus 2, that's 6. I can't go 0 minus 1. So I have to borrow from 2. 2 becomes 1. This is 10. I get 9 and 1. So if I took 2.08, subtracted 1.96, I'm going to get 0.12. All right, moving on to the next page where we have a word problem. Mr. Evans has $3.75, but he buys a snack for $1.82. How much money does Mr. Evans have left? Have left, buys. These are all words that are telling us we're subtracting here, right? You start with this amount, $3.75, and you spend $1.82. And how much are you going to have left? So we're going to solve this. 5 minus 2 is 3. I cannot go 7 minus 8. I have to borrow. 17 minus 8 is 9, and 2 minus 1 is 1. C is our answer. Students need to be careful because there is an answer in here that is included if they were to accidentally add this. So this might trip them up. They need to do the correct process in order to get the answer. Moving on to estimation. This entire one is round to the nearest whole number. That is all of the ones place value. Let me highlight these so they stand out, okay? It's going to be all these numbers right before the decimal. The 1, this 6, this 3, this 8, this 6, this 2, this 4, this 2, okay? None of this is going to have a decimal after it has been rounded if we are rounding to the nearest whole number. You're going to use the number to the right of the highlighted number, the number that we're supposed to be rounding, in order to see does it stay the same, 4 or less, let it rest. If it's 5 or more, we let that number soar. We let it go up in value. That 2 makes that 1 stay the same. This is 1. This 6 right here is actually going to make the 6 go up to 7. 1 plus 7 equals 8. That's all they have to do. They've got this. Let's look at this next one. This 4 makes this 3 stay the same. This is 73. This 5 is going to make this 8 go up in value. It's actually going to go up to a 9. 73 plus 9 is 82. Going on to the next one. Again, these are all estimates. They're not the exact answers. This 6 is going to be determined by this 8 here, and this 8 is going to make the 6 go up. This turns to a 7. This 1 will make this 2 stay the same. 7 minus 2 is 5. And the last one, 4 is going to be determined by that 1, and it's going to keep it a 4. That 3 is going to determine that 2, and it's going to keep it a 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. It's as simple as that. Once again, there will be no decimals whatsoever in this section once they round it to the nearest whole number. So they've got to be really careful not to include any decimals because then they're doing something incorrect. And moving on to the very last page, Mr. Perez wants to weigh the water in his 2 fish bowls. So this is one fish bowl. This is fish bowl number 1. And this is fish bowl number 2. He wants to weigh just the water in these fish bowls. The first fish bowl, just the bowl, weighs 0.70, okay? 70 hundredths of a pound. But with water in it, the bowl now weighs 6 63 hundredths of a pound. The second bowl weighs 0.50 pounds, but with water in it, it weighs 5.49 pounds. All right, so now what we are going to do is we have to figure out how much the water weighs. We don't know this answer yet. How we're going to find this answer is by taking the fishbowl with water in it and subtracting the weight of the fishbowl, so we know how much the water weighs. So here we go. This is for the first bowl. 6.63 minus 0.70. 3 minus 0 is 3. I cannot do that. I can't go 6 minus 7, so I borrow one whole. Becomes 16. This becomes a 9. 5 minus 0 is 5. The weight of the water in this bowl is 5 93 hundredths pounds. Moving on to bowl number 2. You're going to have to take the weight of the water and the bowl 5.49 minus 0.50. 9 minus 0 is 9. I have to borrow from here. This becomes a 4. This becomes a 14. 14 minus 5 is 9. 4 minus 0 is 4. Now I do not have my answer yet because it's saying what is the total weight of water in both fish bowls. I know the weight of this fish bowl, the water in that fish bowl, and the water in this fish bowl. We have one more step students have to follow in order to get this answer. We now have to add both of these waters. 5.93 plus 4.99. 3 plus 9, 12. I'm going to add my 1. 9 plus 9 is 18, plus 1 is 19. Add my 1. 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 1 is 10. This is now our answer. The total weight of water in both fish bowls is 10 92 hundredths pounds. And that is the quiz. I hope this helps, and have a wonderful weekend and be ready for that quiz come next week. Thanks.